Hey everybody, today we're going to be creating a custom range function using plain JavaScript. As you may know, there are range functions built into like the underscore library and a few others, but we're going to create our own custom one today. So you're just using plain JavaScript to kind of understand how that function works and get into the inner workings of and fundamentals of JavaScript. Go ahead and open a text editor, and you need an index.html and app.js. Go ahead and set up your HTML boilerplate. We can give it a title of range function and then attach it to the script. There we go, app.js. Right, and that's all we need in the index. The whole core of today is in the JavaScript file. So let's go ahead, let's open the live server. And if you don't have live server extension installed, that's okay. Go ahead and you can save on your text editor and just refresh on your browser. Also, if you're not sure where the console is, right click and then inspect will get you to the console. Alright, so we're in app.js and we want a function. Your typical range function takes in two numbers and then spits out an array. Starting with the first number and going up to, but not including the last number. We're actually going to include the last number. I think it's just more intuitive that way, and it's a custom one, so we can do whatever we want in this. If you don't want to include the last number, you don't have to. It's totally up to you. So here we go. First thing we would need to do is something like let's do a make array function. So function called make array. And that's going to include a first number. It takes in two numbers, right? First number and second number. And inside of that function, we want an empty array. I'm going to call it range array equal, there we go, equal empty array. And then we're going to need to take between the first number, so our parameters are first number and second number. We're going to need to start with the first number and push each number from the first number and then the next number. So if it's like between 5 is the first number and 9 is the second number, we would need to push 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 to this range array. Right now it's empty, so let's do a for loop. For let I equals, we can't say 0 because we want I to start at the first number. So for let I equal first number, when I is less than or equal to, the array doesn't have a length yet, so we can't use that. We want I to be less than or equal to the second number because we want it to push that second number to the array. So when I is less than or equal to second number, we're going to do I++. Okay, and so we have our for loop ready to go. Inside of that, we're going to take each number between the first and the last and push it into the range array. So we're going to have range array dot push because we want to push into the range array, and what we're going to push is I, because I will start with the first number. If it's 5, it'll be 5. It'll push it to the array. Loop will add 1, 6, push to the array, 7, 8, and it'll include 9. If 9's the second number, because it's I is less than or equal to, so it'll run if it's equal to the last number, which is indeed what we want. So let's just make sure that works. So I'm going to go down here in console.log, and we're going to do make array, and let's do those two numbers 5. Let's use those in 9. Oops. And save. Undefined. Okay. Let's think about that for a second. It takes in 5 and 9. We didn't return anything. We have to return the array. Return range array. There we go. So we declared the range array, we pushed everything to it, but I forgot to return it. So don't be me, make sure you return your range array, and then when we run the function down here, the returned result will be the array and it'll log that array. So let's do it now. There we go, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect. Let's try two other numbers. Let's do 10 and let's say 70. Save. Okay, and it cuts off here, but it does continue. You just can't see it on your screen. It goes the whole way from 10 to 70 and puts all that in an array. Let's do a negative number. Let's see if that works. -3 to 10. Let's try that. Save. -3, -2, -1, 0. Yeah, okay, so it takes from -3. 10's cut off, but it is there. So it does work for any two numbers. Now, we want to be able to reverse those numbers, so I'd want to be able to say, I also want to create an array from 10 to 3, and it should work. But in this case, it doesn't. It just produces an empty array. The for loop never runs because the first number is larger than the second number. The for loop will never run. So we need to do a second array if we want to run a second function, if we want to run these numbers backwards. So we're going to do a function called make reverse array. It also takes in first number, second number, and then we'll include these two functions in an overarching function here in a bit. So we're going to have one range function, but right now we're just making two smaller functions that we're going to put inside of our range function. So bear with us and we'll get to that overall range function. So this is make reverse array, and to do that we're going to have the same start, let range array equal empty array, and we're going to run a for loop, but this time for let I, it's still let I equal first number, because we still want, okay, in this case it's 10, right? So down here, and let's call this make reverse array so we can test our results. Make reverse array, I equal first number, which is 10, great. When I is greater than or equal to second number, so as long as I is greater than or equal to, as long as 10 is greater than or equal to 3, we're actually going to do I minus minus. And what that does, so the first time it runs is 10. Is 10 greater than or equal to 3? Of course it is, yes. So we're going to then push range array dot push 10, push I to the range array. Then it runs the for loop, it subtracts 1, and then it's 9. I is 9. Is 9 greater than or equal to 3? Yes, of course it is. So we push 9 to the array, or the range array. 8, same thing. 7, 6, the whole way down to 3, and it includes 3 because it's equal to. So it'll push 3 to the range array, and then we're not going to forget this like we did last time. We're going to return range array. Okay? So now if we save, this make reverse array will take in 10 and 3, and should log the numbers between 10 and 3. And it does. We got 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Now, of course, if we run make reverse array with the numbers reversed with 3 and 10, it won't work. So what we're going to do is we're going to use some conditionals in a larger function, an overarching range function. We're going to put both of these into the range function to make this thing as flexible as possible. So here we go. Function, I'm going to call it range, which also takes in first number, comma, second number. Okay, and this time we're going to think about some conditionals. What happens if we only put in one number? If we only put in one number, then what I would like my range function to do, and you can kind of choose what you want yours to do, or you can kind of go along with this. If I put in, let's say 5, I want it to log an array from 0 to 5. If I put in 22, I want it to log an array from 0 to 22. So let's do that. So if first number is less than 0, okay, and, well, not less than 0, that doesn't make any sense. Let's do this. If second number triple equals undefined. So if I only put in one number, and the second number doesn't exist, the second number is undefined, then I'm going to have the first number, whatever you put in. So let's say we put in 5 as first number here. If we put in 5, there is no second number, it's undefined, so we're going to jump into this if statement. And we're going to have, make sure I say this right, second number equal the first number. So 5 that we put in now becomes the second number. And then the first number becomes 0. So if we put in 5 to this range function, 5 becomes the second number if we only put in just 5. and then the first number becomes 0. And then we can return make array first number comma second number. Alright, so what we're doing here is if we only put in one number, let's say we put in, and this is make reverse array, I'm going to change this back to make array. Let's say we just put in 5 like we said we were going to. Save it. Okay, and it's empty right now, so that's not a good sign, and we'll try and fix that here in just a second. Oh. I don't know. Let's think about it for a second. So we put in 5 into make array. Oh, because we need to run the range function, not make array. Range. Okay, and there it is, 0 to 5. So when we run the range function with 5 is the first number. Second number is undefined. There is no second parameter. So if second number is undefined, which it is, second number becomes the first number. So we take 5 and we put it into the second number. So the second number is now 5 and the first number is now 0. We then return this function called the make array function called with the first number, the new first number, and the second number. So with the first number being 0 and the second number being 5, we're going to call this make array function and return whatever the make array function returns. So we would call make array function, and we know that returns the range array from, and it'll return the range array of the first number to the last number, 0 to 5, and it does do that. That's great. So that works. Great, we're going to keep it that way. What happens though if this number becomes negative, let's say -5, save? Now we have nothing again. So what I propose we do is we keep something very similar to this, but we're going to call this else if, because I want to put the most specific thing first in this function. We're going to go up here and put the most specific thing first. So if first number is less than 0 and second number triple equals undefined. So if the user gives a first number that is negative, less than 0, and no second number, so a negative number, which we just did down here, and no second number, then we want the second number to equal 0 and return make array with first number, second number. Alright, and let's kind of explain our way through that. So again, if this whole thing is saying if the number is negative, right? So this is for, I can put an enter here and go negative single number. So if the number is negative, make the second number 0 and return make array first number to second number. So -5 to 0. And when we do that, save. -5, -4, -3. Okay, so it takes it to 0. Great. -17. Let's try that. Great. -17, and it cuts off 8, 7, 6, 5, and 4, but it's there, and it takes us and the negative is actually for the 3 is on where you can't see, but it is there. It takes us from -17 to 0. So that works. Great. So now we can handle single numbers that are positive and single numbers that are negative. If it's negative, it takes you from that number to 0. If it's positive, it takes you from 0 to that number. Now we need to add the two number variants. Okay, so I'm going to leave this else if separated for now. I think it kind of looks nice there. Let's make sure that still works. So let's do 17. Okay, great, and it does log to 17. It's a little bit off the screen, but it does work. Gonna do another else if. Got two more of these. So else if first number is less than or equal to second number. So this would be for your average thing. So if your first number is less than your second number, so if you put in 10 and 17, 2 and 5, -3, +4, then we just simply return, not simply, but we just return make array with those two numbers, first number, second number. Okay, so all we do is call the make array function and return it with the two numbers if the first number is less than the second. So if it's what you would commonly do with a range function, 5 and 10, 2 and 8, anything of the first number smaller than the second, we just return. Now last one, and I'm just going to call this else if because I want to put a condition there. You could call it else and figure out how to do that if you'd like. I'm going to say else if first number is greater than or equal to the second number. So this would be, and before we do that, let's make sure that this other one works. So 10 comma 17, let's make sure that the one above it works. Great, 10 11 12 the whole way to 17. Now this one, if we had 17 and 10, then we want it to count backwards: 17 16 15 14 13 12 11 10. So to do that, we need our make reverse array function. So if the first number is bigger than the second number, we want to call this guy down here. That's why we made this one. Make reverse array with the first number and second number. And we need to return that. Don't be me and not return it. We did that earlier. Return. Okay? And save. And if we do that, 17 10. Save. 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. Perfect, okay? So that's the whole thing. We made two small functions, make array and make reverse array, which take in two numbers, create a range array based off of that, and then up here we called our actual range function, which set up conditionals for the make array function. We use the make array function in the range function to make an array based on a set of conditionals, is the correct way I wanted to say that. So that's it. Let's do a couple test examples and then we'll head out. So console.log range 2 to 5, console.log range -3, which should spit out, let's make sure these work, yep, 2 to 5, -3. Remember, if you only plug in a negative number, it takes you from that number to 0. Console.log range, and let's say 9. And that should spit out from 0 to 9. Perfect. And then let's do one more. Console.log, and let's do -22 to 3. -22 to 3. Save. We got 3. Oh, we didn't put in range. There we go. And there it is. Perfect. So if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to use this range function in your projects. You can copy the code you just had there, paste it into your documents, and use this custom vanilla JavaScript range function so you don't have to download any libraries. If you liked this video, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.